brand new day indeed. So, how's your day? Is it amazing or you're still worried because of what we are experiencing right now? So, no matter what you're feeling right now, always remember to smile to avoid negativities. Before anything else, let me share to you a quote which is each day is a new day and we must embrace it with a fresh new set of eyes. So this literally means that regardless of what uncertainties that may come, begin your day with a smile, hope, and expectations. So if you do this every day, you will be more optimistic. You will become a more optimistic person. And especially now that we are in this pandemic, everything changed. Our lifestyle was greatly changed. But there are also wonderful things that happened, like we spend a lot of time with our families and God also. So if you look each day as a new beginning, you will feel more happy, you will feel happiness, more energetic, and more motivated. So after all, every day is suitable for making a resolution and a new beginning. So that's all. That's a little bit of motivation for each one of us. By the way, good morning everyone. I am Shalamay Damonan and I'll be reporting one of the topics in lesson 7, which is the everyday as commodity. So let's begin. What is first, let us identify what is commodity. So it is a basic good used in commerce that is interchangeable with other goods of the same type. So commodity is important because as they are essential factors in the production of other goods. The most common goods that are used for exchanging is coffee, wheat, gold, and oil. So since commodities are traded for exchanging on exchanges, their prices are not set by a single individual or entity and many economic factors. So that will be have an effect on the price of the commodity. For example, let's look at oil. If the supply of oil increases, the price of the barrel of oil will decrease. So conversely, if the demand of oil increases, which often happens during summer, so the price of oil will increase. Next is the commodities are often used as inputs in the production of other goods and services. So one of the example of this is gold. So because it is used in the production process for jewelry and other goods, but it is also viewed by many as a worthwhile long-term investment. Next, so according to Dan Zimmerman, which is the man in the picture, so for him, art is a commodity. It embodies intangible concepts and ideas by transforming them into material goods capable of being marketable, sellable, and collected. So it means that by interacting with global economy, art subjects itself to external value measurements via monetary value. So celebrity capital, redefinition through criticism, the specific of purchase, sale, government grants, and any other manner by which it perpetuates itself. Next is he stated that it constantly operates outside of itself, interacting with outside sources of investment. So as art is essentially considered to be priceless, regardless of the price exchange in the market. If the collector becomes the authoritative critic, then there is immediately a conflict of interest in determining the symbolic relevance of artwork in the question. Next, So everyday life, commodities, and culture. So first, let's discuss consumption is the only way of obtaining the resources for life. In the consumer society of capitalism, everyone is a consumer. So the basis of the theory of everyday life is not the products, the system that distributes them, or the consumer information. So but the concrete specific uses they are put to the individual acts of consumption production, the creativities produced from commodities. The second one is all material functional resources are imbricated with the semiotic level. The third one is all commodities of capitalism are goods to speak with. So the fifth slide, we have bargaining trade of body parts. So in this topic, when visual regime of capitalism in general translate into an informed everyday practice, and one of the example of those is the bargaining trade of body parts and exchangeability of babies and children. So when we say bargaining, it is growing, expanding, or developing rapidly. So on the other hand, trade is the activity or process of buying, selling, or exchanging goods or services. So in this topic, the goods they use for buying and selling is the body parts. Actually, this issue is still happening in today's time. So this is what we call the red market. So because of the idea of marketplace in which body parts are bought and sold makes us squeamish. The growth and demand for human materials has been accompanied by an effort to build an ethically justifiable system for supplying them. Organs aren't supposed to be bought and sold. Rather, they are donated by altruistic individuals, and we pay for the services necessary to acquire them rather than for the organ itself. So, another story regarding this topic is the story of two couples who sold the body parts of their orphaned grandson, which is it was a couple from Russia. Apparently, the couple had already reached an agreement with different buyers over prices for the eyes, kidneys, and liver of the child. At the appropriate time, the child was to have been carefully slaughtered, dismembered, and delivered piece by piece to clients. And another example is a woman in UK who entered into an agreement on selling the body parts of her child. So she was deprived by the child after she entered into an agreement to sell it to one couple. And then reneged and sold the child to another couple who had offered higher price. It is very unlikely to know this kind of situation, to think that the lives of the children were just used in buying and selling. How unfortunate it would be for them. So all I can say that we should treasure. I think we can say that we should treasure our lives. So for the sixth slide, we have John Froh. So John Froh is the man in the picture. He is an Australian academic who works in the areas of literacy theory, narrative theory, intellectual property law, and cultural studies. He is the author of The Time and Commodity Culture. So in his Time and Commodity Culture, so he refers to similar reports of trends and incidents. So he said that his bargaining trade of body parts does not deny the reality of the traffic in human rights. So in Time and Commodity Culture, John Froh refers to similar reports and incidents. So although they are narrated in a manner in a manner which locates them on the verge of mythology. He also said that burgeoning trade does not, deny the reality of the traffic in human rights. Because human organs or the increased colonization of bodies of the poor by the rich. So another example we have is the Pedro Reggie case. So this is popular case. So Pedro Reggie's case. It is in 1993 in a Times report in the BBC documentary. So the body parts business, which is a number of cases not just sale of body parts but of forcible removable as a prelude to sale. So the body parts documents a number of cases of body parts. So, and one of the cases is about Pedro Reggie. There are another case, but I said focus about it because the main topic is about Pedro Reggie. So Pedro Reggie is a patient in the Montes de Oca Psychiatric Clinic. So he claimed that his cornea were forcibly removed when he was still a patient there. So a few days after the program was broadcast, Reggie and his half-brother appeared on the Argentine television program and retracted the allegation, so stating that Reggie had lost his eyesight due to an infection. So a subsequent investigation revealed that he had suffered from bilateral congenital cataracts. As an infant, he had severe eye problems in the mid-1980s that were judged to be inoperable, so he lost his eyesight due to the disease. So the documentary also identified a number of other cases of organized theft of organs from living people. So there are cases and identifies a number that are organs from other people, and 800 children have been kidnapped, and most of them sold their body parts. And we have Arjun Appadurai. So he is a prominent contemporary social cultural anthropologist. So one of the most prominent and prolific scholars of globalization. So according to him, he quoted the commoditization. So according to him, the issue of bargaining can be found in the ways in which subjects are involved or tied in the process in which he called the commoditization, or more specifically, the commodity situation. So let's the post-bank. I call it post-bank because we will tackle it along the slides. So post-bank, a photograph of two young women, which is the first picture. We can look at this picture and relate to commoditization, which Arjun Appadurai said. So in two ways. First is they have dressed themselves in an eye-catching and presumably fashionable way. Second one is there is a different relationship between the camera and its object. So let's discuss. They have dressed themselves in an eye-catching and presumably fashionable way. So as a capitalist inflection, what the eyes have to consider in addition to am I normal and healthy? Am I fashionable? Indeed, looking normal might even constitute a negative in certain fields and other things. Capital would accrue only if the person looks strange, odd, quirky, or unusual. So consider the first picture that is called the postman. So a photograph of two women whose look is about to go to a party. We can relate their looks and a commoditization in two ways. So as I've read it earlier. So they have dressed themselves in an eye-catching and presumably fashionable way. So they're wearing low-cut shirts, which draws attention to their sexuality. So they are also wearing unusual and they're also wearing unusual combinations of glass beads. So in distinctive hats, the first is a top hat. The second, so the first pick, which is the one who is wearing glasses, she wears a top hat. And the second is a 1920s style fur hat. So and shirts made of heavily textured fabric. So moreover, they have produced themselves, allowing for some variations. So the woman on the right has a nose stud, which is piercing nose stud, and the one on the left is wearing eyeglasses. So as a pair. So what these details articulate is that they are fashion literate, or at the very least that they are perfectly aware that they are producing themselves within. The second way, or there is a very different relationship between the camera and its object. So the second way in which commoditizing themselves is both related to and distinct from their status as fashion text. So take a look at the second pic, which is a military group photo, which was discussed in the previous chapter. So one of the things we noted was the way the camera in its very official context demanded some kind of acquiescence. Quite simply, the women were more or less required to smile. With the two women in the photograph, there is a very different relationship between the camera and its object. So their gazes are anything but acquiescence. In fact, one might suggest that their responses to the camera fit in with the post-punk performance associated with their clothes. So at the moment the camera takes the photograph, both women are putting on performance of fashion as subjectivity predicated on the certain kind of post-punk literacy. So the payoff of this performance, of course, is the acquiring of capital, or something that can be exchanged for what else within a field among their friends. So the photographer or the people they meet at the function they are to attend. So thank you. So there is a considerable difference between seeing someone as if they were on a object of study in the sight of symptoms, which is seen in the second peak, and seeing somebody as if they were commodity, as fashionable and fashion literate, which is in the case of the first pick again. First picker again is a series of pieces and parts like liver, heart, eyes to be sold, as in the case of capitalism. And yet within contemporary Western societies, we often make use of both and visual regimes more or less simultaneously and successfully, in much the same way that in human sight binocular vision is seamlessly transformed in what seems like monocularism. So the topic overall is about the everyday commodity. So the overall topic talks about the bargaining trade, which is the body parts selling of liver, eyes, heart, and many more. And also the way the post-punk style was discussed also, because the trends, the way they dress themselves. So that's it for today. I hope that you've learned some ideas on what my topic is all about, what did I discuss on my topic, which is the everyday as commodity. Thank you and God bless.